Good morning, Rockaway Township School Community. I hope everyone is well. My name is Peter Trinami, Superintendent of Schools. I want to begin this morning welcoming you to our second Virtual Celebrity Day by sharing a few notes of gratitude. First, to all of our students who are participating today, please know how proud we are of you. We know this school year has not been what you all expected, but you have persevered through so much, and we could not be prouder of you. To our teachers, my gosh, you have transformed teaching and learning throughout this past year. We owe you a deep debt of gratitude. Thank you so much for your service and your dedication to our community. Please know how grateful we are. And to the families who are participating in Celebrity Day today, I know both as an educator and as a parent, the school year has been one of frustration at times, but you have always supported us. We are grateful for that, and we thank you deeply for your support throughout this year. And then today, as we move to our Celebrity Day, I want to just acknowledge all of the celebrities who will be with us today and thank them for their commitment to our community over the years. This is a product of one of the great partnerships between Rockaway Township School District and the Rockaway Township Substance Abuse Alliance, a long-standing partnership over 20 years. And so to Les and his entire team, know we are deeply grateful for your ongoing support. You inspire us every day. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Principal Gunnell. Principal Gunnell.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Ternamian. Again, I'd like to thank all of the students, some of which who are present today to see this somewhat live, the Substance Abuse Alliance, our teachers, just a wonderful town and a wonderful community. I just want to reiterate our Rockaway Township and Copeland Middle School logo of "We are better together." During stressful times and difficult times, great communities, great schools stick together. The Rockaway Township Substance Abuse Alliance has been with us for over 20 years. Our speakers today have a very powerful and important message, something that will really help shape your decision making in the future. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you take some positive things from it. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce a close personal friend of Rockaway Township and Copeland Middle School, Mr. Les Wexler.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gunnell, Dr. Ternamian. First of all, thank you very much for your friendship and your partnership in what's been something that is a strong passion of ours and something we love doing, especially when we can get a strong message to our students. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Virtual Celebrity Day. My name is Les Wexler, and I'm with the Rockaway Township Substance Abuse Alliance. This is a day that everyone looks forward to each year. Today's event culminates the final phase of our year-long program here at Copeland Middle School called Project Positive Choice, which is a substance abuse education prevention program that we established right here in Rockaway Township in 1998. Today marks the end of our 23rd year of helping to educate our middle school students about the dangers of getting involved with drugs and alcohol. Our program is unique, and it is the only program of its kind in New Jersey and possibly all of the United States. Project Positive Choice is a 4-phase program, and the students learn not by textbook or videos, but from very special people that actually come to Copeland and talk to them up close and personal about their choices and the consequences that go along with those choices. They also hear from numerous celebrities that will spend the day with them, talking to them about where you can go in life if you make positive choices. Today, you will get to hear from a few of the celebrities, as well as from a young man who was in recovery that have been part of this very special mission we are on to help save our children's lives. To date, we have probably spoken to over 11,000 students and adults here at Copeland Middle School and other locations, and hopefully we've had a positive impact on many of them. Our Alliance is thankful for the many people that have made this program a success over the years, and that includes teachers, administration, superintendents, local, county, state leaders, local and county law enforcement, parents from our community, religious leaders, the many celebrities who attend each year and offer to help with outside events, and to the students who have come through the doors of Copeland and took some great knowledge that they learned here and carried it with them when they entered high school and beyond. This mission we are on has been a humbling experience, and hopefully we can keep it going for a while longer. We certainly hope we can, and we plan on doing so. Now, our first speaker is not a stranger to Copeland Middle School. He has spoken to the 7th graders in years past. He has been in recovery for several years and is going to briefly tell you his story and the choices he has made. Would you please welcome Mr. Dennis Vestigi.
Hello.
You're good to go.
Dennis, you're good to go.
Oh, you want me to open up now?
Yep. Go for it.
Man, you guys didn't let us watch or nothing. Oh,
Yeah, you're ready to go.
right in. Whoo. All right. Well, hello everyone there. My name is Dennis Vestigi and I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. And I am honored and blessed to be here today. I have to thank the group of RTSAA to allow me to speak to you guys about a little bit about my story and what I went through, and try and bring a little bit of the aspect of what life can be like if you walk the route that I walked. So I like to start off by saying, you may hear me say things like God and prayer. I'm trying not to really speak in a religious aspect. I'm talking more in a spiritual aspect. I just want to let you guys know on how my sitting is on it. So my first experience when I got sober to an addictive personality type of mine was at 6 years old. I had stolen a cigarette from my grandmother and I tried smoking it underneath a blue elephant slide. 6. I was like, wow. The guy that told me this, when I told him my story, he's like, that was your first addictive behavior. And it grew from there. My life wasn't bad as a kid. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. My mother and father weren't divorced. They weren't raging alcoholics and things like that. But like most families, it was dysfunctional. There wasn't always the best of things around. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich. I didn't always get the best. I had 2 older brothers who I looked up to and wanted to be like. And seeing them do things like smoking, being out with their friends and riding bikes, I wanted all of that. But when it broke down, I didn't feel that way inside. For me personally, I had always felt like I was empty. There was a void. There was something missing. And I just didn't know what it was. And as I grew up, I tried to make more friends. I tried to fit in. I tried to do things to fit in. So that became getting in trouble in school. That became talking back to my mother, fighting with my brothers, doing things I should not have been doing, stealing from the stores, because I got that little bit of a rush. I got that, whew, all right, I feel all right. This was kind of fun. At least I thought it was for the time being. So growing up, as I said, wasn't bad. But when I moved from Montclair, New Jersey to Hopakon, that's when things really started to change. I had to try and fit in. I had to try and make new friends. I had to do a lot to really feel like somebody that I wasn't. And that was the problem, because I put on a mask and I never let anyone know who I was. And then I found drugs at 10. 10 years old was the first time that I had tried alcohol and I had tried smoking weed. And we were basically off to the races. The first time I actually truly got high and felt something was about 15. And before that, I had already been arrested at 13. I was charged with grand theft auto at 13 years old. I did not walk that right path, and I would prefer nobody to walk my path either. It was a rough one, but the struggles are what made me who I am today and made me better. But that first time I got high, like I said, it felt like my whole world was surrounded in peace. And that's all I wanted. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to fill that empty void inside of me. And it was the best thing that had ever happened to me, is what my mind believed. From there, like I said, my path was not the best. I had spent time in jails. I had been to many rehabs and institutions. I've met many police officers. I've dealt with abuse of police power. I've dealt with abuse of people around me, fights with friends. I never made good choices because my mind was never clear. Like I said, as I grew older, the drugs got worse. I was 17 when I lost my first friend to heroin, and I still decided to do heroin myself. I left my high school a full-blown drug addict, addicted to pills, addicted to heroin, marijuana, drinking. It did not matter. Whatever I could put in my body to make me feel different, that's how it was. I wanted to not feel like me anymore. The pain was too great. I love speaking to a younger generation about what I went through, because you guys are the next generation. You guys have the opportunity to not make the choices that I made. And you'll see a lot of glorification of marijuana. You'll see a lot of glorification of alcohol as you see it. You may also see it in your own homes with your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, and your fathers, your uncles, aunts. It's everywhere, and it can be or happen to anyone. It is so simple to cross what I was told. You cross an invisible line. As soon as you walk over that line, to get back over it is one of the hardest things you'll ever go through. My story ended up with me having 3 felony burglary charges and sitting in a jail cell wishing I was dead. I remember sitting there alone in my room days, just wanting to not wake up. I remember younger, not wanting to go to school because I just couldn't do it. The drugs had taken a hold already. The pain had become so great. And it's hard because everyone experiences pain, but it's what you do with the pain. I wanted the pain to go away by ending myself through drugs and alcohol. Well, God had a different plan for me. He brought 2 detectives to my front door, told me I had done a burglary, which I had not done, but I was being charged with, and he saved my life. That was the best day of my life, next to my children being born, because I am a father of 3. Life's gotten a lot better, but to speak to you today is about the struggle of what I went through and how it's basically molded me into the person I am today. This is an opportunity for you to listen to us and these other speakers of their struggles as well. What I would ask of any of you here is, if you don't understand what they say, try and understand how they felt or how they are feeling, because we all feel the same. We all have gone through that. We've all felt sadness. We've all felt happiness, and we've felt joy. But when someone struggles, the most thing they feel is pain. They feel depressing. And to get there, it doesn't take much. The mind is a beautiful thing, but can also create chaos in our heads. So when we listen to these speakers after me, you're going to hear great stories. You're going to hear struggle. You're going to hear triumph. You're going to hear amazing, amazing things from them. I'd like you guys to just try to feel what they felt, because you may not be from the same circumstances and you may not understand what they actually did and went through, but you can always understand how they feel. And that's where it really gets you, because my story sucked for a long time. Generally, I had a really bad life for over a decade, but it was my own choice. As I said, 2 detectives knocked on my door. They put me in a jail cell, and it saved my life. I was given an opportunity by the state of New Jersey to go on drug court. They got rid of my entire record. They dropped 39 felonies off of my record. I have a clean record. I'm literally a new person. Like I said, I have a family. I have so many material things. I have a car, I have an apartment, I have a great career. I'm surrounded by wonderful people. I enjoy helping. I'm a personal trainer now. Don't get me wrong, life is great, but what's the best thing is I feel good today. That void is gone. It's filled with happiness and joy of others as well as myself. And I get to do great things like this. Les personally tried saving my life when I was younger. He knows my mother and my father. And he used to deal with her, and he tried saving me when I was young, but I was not ready. I needed more time. I needed to spend more time out there. I needed to get a little more pain under my belt before I realized that things could change and I could be saved. So the people that are coming after me, they're going to hit you with some amazing things. I hope you guys are ready to have a great celebrity day and realize that these struggles that they went through are rough, but it made them better. It shaped who they are today. And they're going to create great memories for you from here to walk down this next path of your lives. And I'm Dennis Vestigi, and thank you. I'm honored to be here today. Thank you, Les.
Dennis, thank you very, very much for that powerful story. You know, your friendship, your message means so much, not only to us, but to everybody that's listening and watching. And we hope to have you part of this program for many, many years to come.
Oh, yeah, me too. My goal is to keep doing what I'm doing.
Thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. Our next guest has quite an amazing story. She has overcome numerous medical obstacles in her life to become a top basketball player at her college, and even was the captain of her team. And she's only 4'6" tall. She had a starring role on a professional basketball team, the Harlem Ambassadors, and as the lead show woman for the team's Stars and Stripes unit, she brought laughter, joy, and excitement to every event and left fans across the country in awe and inspired. Would you all please join me in welcoming a very, very special young lady, Miss Tafara Stewart. Tafara will be with us in a second. Okay, Tafara, if you, okay, hold on 1 second with us, folks. Little technical glitch.
Good morning.
There you go, Tafara, you're on.
Can everyone hear me? They can see me?
I could see you.
All right.
Ready to go.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tafara Stewart. I am from Long Island, New York. I went to Farmingdale State College, where I earned 3 degrees in 4 years. But today I want to talk to you about never giving up and overcoming obstacles. And hopefully, if I have enough time, I can show that obstacles come in many forms than just what I've experienced. My obstacles started when I was just born. I was born 3 months premature. I was 2 pounds, 15 ounces, 8 inches long. And to kind of give you a visual on that, my parents used to hold me literally in the palm of their hands. And my head was about the size of an egg. I was born blind in my right eye. I have hearing loss in both ears. I have scoliosis, which means that my spine has a curve in it. It's not straight. And because of scoliosis, I have one leg shorter than the other. I have vertebrae in my lower back that didn't develop, as well as a missing rib. And again, that was my obstacle to begin life. It was just a fight for life. But I never gave up, and that allowed me to, one, be here today. But I had dreams growing up to follow the footsteps of my family. A lot of them were athletes, and I definitely did not want to be left out on the side. So I would follow their footsteps. When they go out and play basketball or any other sport, I was out there right behind them. There was never a time in life that I looked at any of my disabilities and thought that maybe I couldn't do anything. Honestly, I never knew that I had the disabilities. That's how I put it. Not that I didn't know, but it was just more so of, if I wanted to do something, I was gonna go try it. My family pushed me to do whatever I wanted to do, to try whatever I wanted to do. And that's one thing that I'm grateful for as far as my family is concerned. And I played basketball since I was when I was younger, it was like 3 to 5 years old that I started playing sports. But starting on an organization, I began when I was in 4th grade, and I played on the 5th grade team, the 6th grade team above me. And that was just throughout life of being advanced in skills. So once I got to high school, I was on the JV team in the 8th grade, the varsity team by 9th grade. And fortunately enough, that hard work paid off, and I was able to go to Farmingdale State College, where I played basketball there. And to this day, as Les said earlier, that I only stand 4 feet 6 inches. And even before graduating high school, I kind of thought basketball or playing sports was just going to be the end of it come high school, because I have an older sister who was 5'2" actually, and she went to play basketball at a college, and she was kind of like turned down because of her height. There was someone taller, and they felt like she fit the role better. So me being 4'6", it kind of deterred me away from wanting to play. And I thought about even going to Syracuse, and I was like, all right, I'll study business. They had an awesome program. And then it's like, again, when you apply for different schools, you get different answers. And Farmingdale called back and was like, hey, we want you to come, and we also want you to play basketball. So it was like a win-win for me. And in doing so, I was, again, able to play basketball there for 4 years. I even played volleyball there for a year. But in doing so, and that hard work, it paid off to where I was the recipient of 3 prestigious awards: the Jimmy V Foundation, the V Foundation Jimmy V Comeback Award, the Women's Sports Foundation Wilma Rudolph Courage Award, and the U.S. Basketball Writers Association Most Courageous Award. And that's all from never giving up and being able to overcome the obstacles that you're faced with. I was featured as ABC's Person of the Week. I was featured in USA Today, Newsday. I said ABC's Person of the Week, as well as just other major news reports, headline news, CNN headline news. But again, if you keep going and you keep at it and you follow your dreams, anything can happen for you. So you can't let any obstacles stop you from following your dreams. After college, again, the same thing of maybe this is the end, all right, maybe I'll go into coaching, maybe I'll go into going into business or whatever it was. But I was, again, fortunate enough to continue my career in basketball, and I was offered the opportunity to play on the Harlem Ambassadors. And I had to travel around with them for a good 2 years and living a life, honestly. But that did come to an end, and it gave me the opportunity to reflect and come back, and that's where I came home. And I decided to start my own company, Up for the Challenge, where some motivational speaking where I can share my testimony, not only under the umbrella of the Harlem Ambassadors, but for myself, where I can go around to wherever I want, however I want, and I can do the program how I want and share my story the way that I can. But the different obstacles that you may face, another obstacle that I faced was bullying. In high school, I was bullied, and you have to take that and use it to your advantage. So my thing was taking a negative and making it a positive. So being bullied, one example was on the basketball team. They didn't like that whether I was better than them. I never acted like, oh, I'm better than you, but it was just their attitude that they didn't want me. As a point guard, they would throw the ball over my head. They would talk a lot of junk behind my back. But I had one teammate that would always tell me about it. And I'm like, so you sit there, but do you defend me? But again, when you hear everything that's being said and other things that's being done to you, you got to figure out what you can do. I said one example of them keeping the ball away from me. I just sat back. I came home, I cried to my mom, my dad, told them everything. I'm like, what can I do? Take the negative, make it a positive. All right. So if they're going to keep the ball away from me, what can I do? Play better defense. So in doing so, that developed my game on another level. Again, being able to go to Farmingdale State College, and I was one of the top defensive players on my college basketball team. And again, it's like different things, even growing up, working for different basketball teams with the Harlem Ambassadors. One reason that I'm not there is because of a situation that happened. We had an event going on, and the coach kind of came back and was kind of reprimanding us about our show or our event. And she literally asked me, was I looking at her the right eye? And at that moment, I kind of froze because I didn't know what to do or what to say. Anger hit me because I knew everything that I wanted to say, but I knew it was unprofessional and disrespectful on my behalf, because I still show respect no matter what. But I really thought about it. Was she talking right or wrong, left or right? I'm blind in my right eye. So what exactly are you trying to say? But she continued to reprimand me in front of the team. And later on that day, like, I kind of calmed down, and even it was like, all right, my parents taught me, whatever you start, you finish. And I had already signed a contract. I knew that, all right, I have it in my heart that I'm still going to finish everything that I put forward. And even in that day, I called back home and I'm telling my parents, I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what was said. And my parents was like, you need to come home now. And I'm like, nope, you taught me better than that. And you know, once you start something, you have to complete it. And they was like, all right, well, do what you do. Do what you have to do. And we support you. So that's what kind of started my exit from that team and the beginning of my company. So obstacles that you face, you gotta take the negative and make it a positive for yourself, no matter what. Never give up. And as my company always says, always be up for the challenge, because you never know what you may face. So now, right now that we face this pandemic, I had to sit back and think, what's one thing that I could do to make this negative situation a positive? So you have so much time on your hand. The world stopped, and what can you do? A lot of on your hands, and you could just figure something out, learn something new. And for me, that's what I ended up doing. I've been working on a course, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, but by the end of this month, I will be a certified personal trainer to now take something that stopped the world completely to now you have an advantage to where you come out and you have a new trade or a new profession on belt. So no matter the situation that you're in, no matter the obstacle that you face, never give up. Always be up for the challenge and take that negative and make it a positive on your behalf. Thank you.
We're good? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much to Farah. Again, a great story. Thank you again for your friendship and everything you've done for us over the years. I will be in touch with you over the
Thank you
next.
for having me.
Okay. Thanks for everything, and enjoy. So now we're ready. Okay. Okay. All right. Our next celebrity is a past honoree and a true American hero. 8.5 years ago, when 26 students and faculty were being murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut, she was able to save her entire first grade class and herself by locking them in a tiny bathroom, protecting them, and keeping them calm until the shooting had stopped and the gunman had been killed. It is a remarkable story, and she's an incredible and inspirational woman. It is because of her actions an entire class of children are alive today. I'm proud to call her a friend, and I'm thrilled that she's been part of this mission we've been on for many, many years. Would you please join me in welcoming back Caitlin Roy DeBellis. Okay, we're just looking for Caitlin.
I'm here.
All right, there's Caitlin. How are you, dear?
Good. I couldn't hear anything you were saying, but I'm here.
Oh, okay, it was all good. Don't worry, it was all good. Caitlin, you are on.
I'm on. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. Les, thank you so much for once again organizing this incredible and super important event and asking me to be a part of it once again. I'm truly honored. My name is Caitlin Roy DeBellis. On the morning of December 14th, 2012, I awoke ready to tackle the day. It was a Friday. It was about 2 weeks shy of Christmas, and the weekend lay in front of me. As I hurried to leave my home that morning, something stopped me in my tracks. I have no idea why. It was about 7 a.m. And I put down my things, I grabbed my phone, and I walked over to our slider as the sun was rising peacefully over Long Island Sound. I took a picture of that sunrise and I posted it to Facebook, and I literally raced out the door to get to school. Not even 3 hours later, my sense of peace, calm, and happiness were forever changed. That morning, my students and I were sitting in our morning meeting as we did every single day. It was around 9:30. We had just finished listening to Oh, What a Beautiful Morning. We had greeted one another. We were somewhere in the midst of sharing about our day, what we were going to do in reading, the gingerbread houses we were making the following week, when very loud, rapid fire gunshots began over and over and over. My classroom was the first classroom in Sandy Hook Elementary, and so I knew immediately that without a moment of pause or hesitation that what I was hearing was a weapon. Shattering large glass windows in our front hallway and bringing, much earlier than usual. Bringing terror, pain, sadness, and unimaginable loss to a school that was truly full of light and love. The possibility that your life can change in an instant is, of course, always there. Sometimes fortuitously so, sometimes not. Leaving your home moments before it burns to the ground, changing lanes before avoiding a head-on collision, a miraculous healing after you have suffered a long illness. The change of course can be for the worse. Your car being sideswiped on a highway, a loved one unexpectedly passing, an angry man entering the school with only one intention. I knew that something very evil was in imminent proximity to my students and myself. We're talking about 10 feet. And I knew for us, our only option was to hide. I got up, I closed our door, I turned off the lights. Our classroom door remained unlocked because my keys were on the other side of our classroom on my desk, and I did not want to risk the seconds that it would take me to retrieve them. I turned back around to my students who were still sitting quietly, if you can imagine that, in our morning meeting area, and I said, we need to get into our bathroom and we need to get in there right now. For us, that was our only option. If we wanted to attempt to survive on that morning, our only option was hiding. We were not running anywhere. He was, again, about 10 feet from where we were sitting, shooting his way into our school. So hiding was our only option. And so we began rushing to the back of our classroom, shots ringing out as if we were at war on a battlefield. Our actual colorful, vibrant, bright classroom faded immediately. We began pushing into our impossibly small space. Our bathroom was a bathroom built for a tiny child. It was about 3 feet by 4 feet across with just a toilet in the center. The sink was obviously on the outside. Somehow, by the grace of God, the 17 of us, excuse me, one of my students was absent, 16 of us, 15 of my students and myself piled in, closed the door and locked it. This morning, I'm not going to go into the details of what my students and I endured for the next 45 minutes, but instead use it as a starting point to talk to you about moving forward. There's a really big distinction that I have found in my life about being able to move forward from a difficult traumatic event and being able to move on. I always say that every single day of my life from that day forward, I will move forward with purpose and with intent to live a life that I believe to be important and serving of others, but I will absolutely never move on. That distinction between being able to move forward from hard stuff and move on from hard stuff, that's a very real distinction for me. And I think in our society, sometimes we do a real disservice to one another when we say to people, you know, you've done therapy, you've gone to yoga, you've moved on from this really difficult thing. For me, December 14th, 2012 is wholly a part of me. It is every second of every minute of every single day. And so I can't ever move on from that. I live with it now. I live through it now. And so I will always move forward, but I will never move on. And so for myself, in the days and the weeks that followed December 14th, there were two things that were very much at play for myself personally. The first was that I was so desperately grappling with trying to answer all of the whys. Why did this happen? Why our school? Why innocent lives, 20 of whom were 6- and 7-year-old children who were all first graders that my first graders played with every single day? Why? Eventually, I realized that I was never going to answer those whys. Not then, not now, not ever. And then instead, I needed to shift my focus to trying to answer questions that could be answered. In each of our lives, when we go through the really hard stuff, and we all do, I am not alone in this, we often spend so much of our energy intently focused on questions that we are never going to answer. They almost always focus on why. And we forget in that moment, as we're desperately trying to answer those questions that, again, aren't going to be answered, that there are so many questions within our power to answer, and that there is so much power to be found there. And for myself, there were two questions I absolutely had to answer, and I knew that I eventually could. The first was, how do I make sure this day does not come to define my students and I? The second was, how do we get our control back? And so I shifted my energy. I left the whys behind and I started focusing on those two questions. So that was the first thing that was very much at play. The second thing that was very much at play was when I looked in the mirror after December 14th, I did not recognize the person I saw. Prior to December 14th, I had been an intensely independent person. I actually prided myself on it. I would, go on trips alone. I'd go into New York City by myself. I was very independent, and that was very much a part of my identity. And after December 14th, I could not have been further from that. I think virtual sometimes makes me cry more. Sorry. I could not go anywhere in public, not a gas station, not a grocery store. I could not be home alone, which meant that if my fiance at the time wanted to go somewhere, he had to call someone to come over and babysit me. I was 29. I couldn't be in the car alone. I essentially couldn't do anything alone. I had to shower with the bathroom door open. It was really and truly absolutely infuriating because, again, on December 13th, I had been this intensely independent person and I could not find her. I didn't even know who that person was anymore. And so those two things were really at the root of everything following December 14th. And I realized that living in that fear and that overwhelming sense of being terrified of life was absolutely not a way to continue forward. That if I was going to move forward with purpose, that I needed to muster some strength. And so what happened was we returned to our new school in January, and I looked at my students' faces and I knew we had a very important choice to make. We could allow the actions of a monster to define our lives moving forward, or we could instead look forward with hope, and we could choose to have hope for our futures, regardless of what we had lived through. And so that's what we did. Today I don't have enough time to tell you, every single little detail, but I'll tell you a little bit. Essentially what happened was people from around the world started sending stuff, not just to my class, but to our entire school. They wanted us to feel loved, supported, and cared for. And we did. We definitely felt that love. And I knew as a teacher that it was a teachable moment. I couldn't allow my students to think that in life, when you get, that's it, that it ends there, right? Because that's not where it ends. My parents raised me to believe and to know that when someone does for you, you do for someone else, that you pay it forward, that there are always gifts that you can be giving to others. And so I realized that I needed to teach my students this whole notion of paying it forward, that we were going to find someone and we were going to give them a gift or many gifts. And so, as teachers do, I started Googling and found another class that we could connect with, and we reached out and said, how can we help? What do you need? And we ended up mailing them. We had also been mailed money. We ended up mailing them money so that they could buy a Mimeo Teach for their classroom. It's like a smart board streams from the computer. That class was so thankful, but most importantly, they were inspired. They decided it was not enough to just receive the gift that they had been given, that they too needed to pay it forward, that they too needed to do for someone else and give freely to someone else and understand how good that feels to help someone else. And so they reached out. That class was in North Carolina. They reached out to a class in Arizona and helped them to get supplies for their school's math program, whiteboards and markers and erasers. And I went home sort of, mid-January, let's call it, of 2013. So we're about a month removed from the tragedy. And these things have happened now. I've shifted my focus. I'm focused on answering, how does this day not define my students and I? How do we get our control back? And the first thing I realized was that by connecting with that classroom in North Carolina and then that classroom connecting to the classroom in Arizona, we absolutely got our control back. We absolutely made sure that evil was not defining us because we were choosing to be hopeful. We were choosing to help someone else. And those were the first 3 classrooms involved in this concept of kids paying it forward. I got to thinking, this is bigger than just the answer to my 2 questions. I mean, that was huge for me because obviously I was so desperately grappling with being able to move forward with purpose from that horrific day. But I got to thinking that it's more than that. It's more than just that. And so I started again, as we all do, poking around on the internet, looking to see if there was anything like this idea that I had in my mind of a website where kids could connect with one another, could give gifts to one another, come to learn about one another. And there really wasn't. There were some sites that enabled teachers to crowdfund for gifts for their classroom, but there was nothing with the students in the driver's seat. And I decided that there needed to be. I decided that that is so crucially important for myself. Social emotional learning as a teacher for my students has always been paramount. I mean, sure, academics are important and it's great to be a straight A student and you know, to be a rock star at math, but what does it say about our society if we don't know how to treat one another? What does it say if we don't know how to be empathetic to the needs of someone else and to understand where someone is coming from because we're able to put ourselves in their shoes? I mean, that is the most important lesson that one could ever learn. And so I had decided that this needed to be a thing. And I just, every day after school, I started working on it. I started talking to teachers. I started talking to superintendents. I started talking to business people in the city, seeing if they would fund this idea I had for a nonprofit. And again, this was middle of January. By April 2nd of 2013, Classes for Classes, which is the nonprofit I founded, launched on the World News with Diane Sawyer. That was huge. That was a huge moment because my kids were home watching and they saw that something that came out of such darkness was bringing such light. The thing about life is that these horrible times that we go through, and again, I want to be very clear about this, we all do. You know, mine happened to be on the international level of tragedy, but we all go through these things day in and day out. And the thing about it is that it is our choice. It is within our control to choose our perspective. It is always a choice to decide how you react or not to the situation that has happened to you. And there is where your power lies. You always have a choice of how you are going to move forward from that event, whatever it is. And so for my students and I, you know, starting Classes for Classes, throwing myself into that, that is now my life's work. We've been active in 38 states. We've worked with almost 15,000 students. That for me is my healing. I started shortly thereafter founding Classes for Classes, sharing my story because people wanted to hear it. I was asked, can you come and share about moving forward and being able to overcome adversity, right? Because that is such a common theme in each of our lives. And so I said yes, very trepidatiously, not sure why anyone wanted to hear my story. Since that time, I've spoken to over 250,000 people in person and over 1.5 million virtually. For me, what it's all about is encouraging people to know that their hard stuff does not need to be their endpoint, and it certainly does not need to be their defining moment. We all have a choice to move forward from our hard stuff, again, with passion and purpose for the things that we believe to be most important. Since starting on my journey, Les said it like 9 years ago, I've been honored to have met some truly incredible people on my journey. I've met 3 former presidents, one of whom, President Bush, I was asked to come and see him home to his final resting place at Andrews Air Force Base when he passed away a few years ago. I've been honored by multiple sports teams, which is really weird and really cool all at the same time. A lot of famous actresses. I've been on a lot of television shows to share the work that Classes for Classes has done. I've been honored as a Glamour Magazine Woman of the Year, L'Oreal Paris Woman of Worth. The thing that's really important to know about these things is that I am an ordinary person. I am a teacher. I am a wife. I am a daughter. I am a mama to an almost 4-year-old girl. I am someone who decided that, trust me, what could have absolutely destroyed me in my life wasn't going to. And we each have that choice, no matter how low we feel and how terrible we feel and how burdened we feel. We have the choice every single moment of our lives to decide how we move forward from it. And we decide that that is not the defining moment, and we redefine it for ourselves. And so I hope that if you take away one thing from what I am sharing with you today, it's that you have the choice. There is a choice you have to make in everything you do. So keep in mind that in the end, the choice you make makes you. And I hope that you live that every day. And I'm sorry for all the tears, but whew, I guess crying is a good thing. Thank you, Les, and have an awesome summer, everyone. Bye.
Caitlin, before you leave, first of all, I can't thank you enough. For the students that are here in the room, for everybody watching today, you know, we have a very, very special relationship with Caitlin, as we do with, you know, just about all of our celebrities. And 8.5 years ago, right after this tragedy happened, we honored Caitlin in Celebrity Day 2013, which was not only incredible, but very emotional. And it was a special day. But after that Celebrity Day, I remember Caitlin came up to me and a couple of others and said, Les, I really like what you guys are doing. Can I come back and be a celebrity next year? And Caitlin has been part of our family ever since that day. She's very special to us, personally, to our family, and to the Copeland family. And I know she looks forward to coming here every year, and I know she does a lot of traveling, but what her story is just incredible. And I can't thank you enough, Caitlin. Let's keep this going for many years to come. You know, I have no hair now, so I don't know what many years from now look like, but thank you for everything. Thank you for your friendship. And I felt it was important that everybody that's watching this today, and there are a lot of people watching this, know the true person and the type of person you are. So thank you again. We will be in touch soon, and God bless to you and the family.
God bless, Les. Thank you so much.
You take care.
You too.
Okay, our next guest is also a great individual who's been with us for many years. He's made numerous appearances here at Copeland Middle School. He's a film and TV actor. He's a model, a writer, a radio show host of the Kevin and Nikki Show. He's actually working on a couple of, I think, Netflix programs, which he'll tell you about, one with Adam Sandler, one with Halle Berry. But you know, he could probably talk to you about that himself. He's really a great individual. He's also played professional basketball overseas, in Portugal, China, and many other countries. He's also had the opportunity to play against the late, great Kobe Bryant. Would you please give a great Copeland welcome to Mr. Kevin D. Benton. Okay. Just
Am I here?
There's Kevin. Hey,
all right.
How are you, Kevin? Hey, I gave you a great build-up. So,
oh man, the pressure.
Now you have to set the bar very high. So go for it. Enjoy.
Yeah. All right. All right. So I'm actor Kevin D. Benton, former professional basketball player, multi-award winning actor, and host of the Kevin and Nikki Show on iHeartRadio. Thank Les for this opportunity, and I'm so honored to be among so many great people, great speakers, and to share with you today. So I want to jump right on into it, and I want to use a football analogy. So I want everybody to kind of get into a football mindset. I'm going to be using some football terminology to reinforce my message. So I'm an actor, and in acting, we kind of use props. And so I'm going to be kind of just pulling up some props just to reinforce what I'm saying. So we're going to be using a football analogy today. So just keep that in mind as I'm speaking. And I always like to share around some kind of theme that I want you to put into your mind. So the theme that I want to share around is we challenge to play on the field. We challenge to play on the field. And if I had to pick a sub-theme, it would have to be after further review. So I want you to keep that. We challenge to play on the field and after further review. All right. Just as to kind of set as a precursor to what I'm going to say, every human being has two types of pain operating in our lives right now, whether we know it or not, if I can trap you with truth. And that the first type of pain is what I call consequential pain. And that's just pain that we cause ourselves because we're not perfect, we make bad choices, and the consequences fall on us. And that type of pain under sound thinking is normally tends to be associated with guilt and shame, and things like that. And I found in my own life that the way to get free from the guilt and shame of the stuff I caused myself is to go, hey, I did it, just to admit it. There's a freedom that comes with just admitting that I did it and being honest. They call it integrity and failure. The other type of pain, which is the most difficult type of pain that we have to deal with, is what I call inherited pain. Now, I'm not talking about generational. I'm talking about pain that was caused you, that you had nothing to do with, you didn't pray for it, you didn't plan on it that day, you didn't ask to be bullied, you didn't ask for separation and divorce from mom and dad. It was pain that fell on you that wasn't your fault, and it tends to be associated with anger, blame, and the tendency to become self-righteous because you feel justified in the way you feel because it wasn't your fault. And guess what? Every human being has both operating in their lives. And one of the things I tried to do was say, okay, I got this pain in my life that's not my fault. I got this pain in my life that is my fault, but they're both a part of life. How do I manage these types of pain and still give up persistence and help relationship? And this, they're made from self-destructive behavior patterns because that pain that wasn't your fault has the possibility to be a springboard for self-destructive behavior patterns. You know, if the teacher said, hey, you never grow up and be anything, sometimes you might say, well, you said I wasn't going to grow up and be anything, so I'm going to start acting like it. So I wanted to kind of set the tone for that because people who are engaging in alcohol, drugs, and things like that, you know, we need not judge them because they're trying to deal with some kind of pain. And normally, and in most cases, not in all, it's that pain that wasn't their fault, okay? DMX, the great rapper who just passed away, when he was younger, was passed a joint laced with cocaine that he was given by one of his old heads. Pain that wasn't his fault. He didn't know. And it ended up leading to his demise, as of course, him dying of a drug overdose. All right, so as far as my football terminology, in sports, of course, definitely in football, the best way you give yourself a chance to win the game, of course, you know you got to play well, okay? But the best chance you give yourself to win the game is to play by the rules. Because you can play well, but if you keep turning the ball over because you're not playing by the rules, well, you give the other team the best chance to win. So I know in this day and age, a lot of young people feel that rules is a negative thing because they feel like adults are trying to use rules to control our lives and you guys are not going to control me. I've had young people share that with me. But I want to change your perspective about rules. And I want to change your perspective about the power you have in making the choice to obey rules. Well, first of all, rules give you the best chance to win the game and give you the best chance to win in life. But rules are meant to keep structure. They're meant to keep us safe and to keep organization. If you go skating and the rules say skate counterclockwise, and you say, oh, I don't care about the rules, they're not going to control me, and you go clockwise instead of counterclockwise, well, somebody's more than likely going to run into each other, get injured, and things like that. And guess what? We as adults, we don't like all the rules. You know, there's rules that we have to follow in our professions, on our jobs, but we make the choice to obey the rules. And there's a power with making a choice to obey the rules. Why? Because you do have the right to not obey the rules if you choose, but you have to be willing to accept the consequences that come with it. So every day I make choices to obey rules, whether it's at a stop sign, at least I try. I may speed by, do the little stop and go, but I try to obey rules as best I can, and things like that in my life so I can give myself the best chance to win at life and win the game. And we want you to, we stop by today to say that you're going to win the game, all right? So in football, of course, you win the game by scoring primarily touchdowns, okay? You can get, with touchdowns, is a 6-point score made by carrying or passing the ball into the end zone of the opposing side or recovering it there following a fumble or block. You can kick a field goal. There's other ways to score, but primarily you win by scoring touchdowns. And we stopped by today because we want to help you score touchdowns in life so you can win at the game of life. All right. But of course, as I said before, there's rules and regulations, and I already touched on that. And of course, we know that the rules can be described as guidelines or instructions of doing something correctly. These are principles that govern the conduct and behavior of the game and so forth and so on. And so the more we score touchdowns and play by the rules, we give ourselves a chance to win the game. But I want to deal with two types of rules or infringements or infractions that can help you lose and give the other team a chance to win. And they're called penalties. You know what a penalty is. A penalty is represented. I told you I'm going to be having some, represented by this yellow flag. When you see this flag, and Kevin tell you, it's not a good sign for your team, okay? And a penalty in sports and games, particularly football, is a disadvantage or handicap imposed on players or teams, typically for infringement of the rules in football, of course, the yellow flag, as I just said. All right? Now, there's two types of penalties I want to deal with. And sometimes when you think about that consequential pain, the stuff we caused ourselves, it really is a well-earned or deserved penalty because we did it ourselves. We made the choice to, do what we did. You understand what I'm saying? But the first penalty I want to deal with, I'm gonna hold this up, it's called offsides. All right, and offsides is a foul in gridiron football caused when a defender crosses the line, all right, of scrimmage ahead of the snap of the ball. The penalty associated with the infraction is advancing the ball 5 yards and a replay of the down. Listen, there's a lot of stuff going on out here in the name of social acceptance. They're doing these crazy challenges where they're suffocating people and seeing if they can revive you. They're sniffing stuff under the counter, under the cabinet. I got to give you an offsides on that, gang. That's not what mom and dad envisioned for your life. You don't need to be accepted that much when you're willing to put yourself in harm's way. One of the things I used to talk to the kids about up at the school was having a strong sense of your own identity. It's okay to eat lunch by yourself and be smiling while you did it. It's okay to be comfortable in your skin. It's okay to say, no, I'm not doing that, at the risk of not being accepted, not invited to the next party, at the risk of being talked about, because guess what? They're going to talk about you anyway. You know what I mean? It's okay to be you. I saw a post that said, you might as well be yourself because everybody else is taken. Did you know that there'll never be another you in all of existence? Even twins have different fingerprints. So you're so unique, you're so special, you're so handsome, you're so beautiful that you don't need to be accepted by anybody in the name of doing things harmful to yourself. And if you do, you're offsides, man, you're offsides. The next penalty is going to be encroachment. And encroachment is in the NFL, this occurs when before a snap, a defensive player illegally crosses the line, so you're already offsides of scrimmage, and you make contact with the opponent that has a clear path to the quarterback. I've learned this. Who are you making contact with? That you not only are offsides, is encroachment. Because sometimes the difference between making good decisions like staying away from drugs and alcohol is just changing who you make contact with. Some people just need to go home today and say, you know what? I enjoyed everything that the celebrities shared with me. I need to make changes in my life. I want to win at the game of life. I'm going to play by the rules because I'm going to college. I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to be an actor, a doctor, a lawyer. I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to change my friends because make no mistake about it, bad company corrupts good morals all day. So who are you making contact with that you might need to change, a la offsides, encroachment? But I'm glad y'all hung in there to the end because here comes the good news. You might have been out there sniffing stuff under the cabinet, doing drugs, drinking, hanging around people. Maybe there was somebody out there, you sniffed something under the cabinet, you passed out, but you woke up. But positive choices for a brighter future, we came to challenge to play on the field. Because guess what? Drugs and drinking and alcohol said that your destiny was death and destruction and homelessness, but we come to challenge the play on the field. And a challenge is, in each game, a team will be permitted 2 challenges that will initiate an instant replay. And basically, they review the play with instant replay. The head coach will initiate a challenge by throwing a red flag onto the field of the play before the next legal snap or the kick, and each challenge will require the use of a team a timeout. Now, every time a coach uses this, it's going to cost them, the team, a timeout. And I just wanted you guys to know that Positive Choices for a Better Future is here to challenge the player on the field of your life, but it's costing us a timeout. You know, it's costing us a timeout. It's costing us time out of our busy schedule, but we would rather be nowhere else than where we are right now. But it's costing us a timeout. You know, Kev could be in the weight room. You know, Caitlin could be speaking somewhere. John could be doing a radio show. You know, Tafara could be working on her nonprofit organization. Dennis could be training somebody. It's costing us a timeout, but it's okay. We're doing it because we love them. But we come to challenge the play on the field. So you go to an instant replay box, and of course you go to instant replay. I'm coming in for Landon. In the gridiron football, instant replay is a method of reviewing a play using cameras at various angles, and officials look at it on the field, and then the play is under review. It's under review. And Positive Choices for a Better Future, not only did we challenge the play on the field of your life, we got your life today under further review. And here's my favorite part. After further review, there is hope, there is help, and there is healing. Anybody out there ever had an after further review? And one thing about an after further review, it could go one way or the other. It can go for your direction, or it can go against your direction. Anybody out there ever have a after further review when it was a well-deserved penalty and it still worked out in your favor? I know I had. Man, I was hit by a car. The lady drove a whole block with me on the windshield. Death was the verdict. But after further review, I've been shot at, man, doing playground basketball games, had chronic illness, I had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, was given 1 day to live, man. You know, the doctors told my mom and dad, we've done all we could do, we can't do no more. And my mom said, let go, let God. But after further review, I'm still here. The women in the neighborhood, my old neighborhood, said that me, my brother, was gonna grow up and be the worst kids. They're gonna get shot, thrown in jail. They won't make it past 21. I'm a high school player of the year, 2-time NCAA champion, former professional basketball player, multi-category best-selling author, multi-award best film actor, and a radio show host of the Kevin and Nikki Show on the worldwide iHeartRadio after further review. And we stopped by today just to tell you that your life might be going in the wrong direction, doing drugs and alcohol and things of the sort, but Positive Choices for a Brighter Future stop by to not only challenge the play on the field, but after further review, you're gonna make it, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna graduate, you're gonna be successful, you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be a lawyer because you are handsome, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're smart, and the world wouldn't be the same without you. I'm Actor Kevin D. Benton. Check me out on Kevin D. Benton, IMDb. Check out my latest projects and forthcoming projects. I got a project coming up with Adam Sandler on Netflix, Halle Berry on Netflix. I'm not at liberty because of NDA to get into specifics, but check out my IMDb page, Kevin D. Benton on IMDb, and you can find out some of the roles I'll be playing. We love you. I love you. God bless you.
Kevin, thank you very much, buddy. We appreciate your positive message, and God bless you as well. And we will be talking to you shortly. Okay. Thank you again, Kevin. Okay. Okay. Our next guest was with the #1 music radio station in the country for almost 30 years, the Elvis Duran and the Z100 Morning Zoo, which was heard by over 10 million listeners every day. He has one of the most recognizable voices in the industry, and he's been part of our program for many, many years. And Rockaway Township is practically his second home. He's always been there for us when we needed him, and he never let us down. He's really a good friend to all of us. Would you please welcome a very good friend to all of Rockaway Township, Mr. John Bell.
There we go.
There you go. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm great, Les. I'm great. And
Okay.
it's so good to be here. You know, I got to tell people that it was like 20 years ago when I get this phone call from a guy named Les Wexler inviting me to be a part of a program that he had just started out there at Copeland Middle School. And I said, well, Les, I'm on a morning show the same time as your program is going on. I'm on Z100, the #1 radio station in New York. They're kind of competing activities. And Les said, well, John, if you can help us out, we'd really appreciate it. And I went to my bosses and I told them what was going on. And they said, after I described what you guys did, what was going on at Copeland, they said to me, John, you know what, you can go. All we ask you to do is to do a little broadcast. I don't know whether you remember, Les, but I used to sneak off for a little while and do a little call in back to the show. And then
I remember, John.
on from there. And so it's been a long time that I've been part of this thing, and part of it in a way that made me feel like I was doing something important every single year. It became the most important thing I could do.
Okay, I'm going to step away and I'm going to let you tell your story now.
Okay.
I'll see you soon.
Okie doke. Yeah, it's been more than 20 years that I've been part of the program at Copeland Middle School. And each year it's become a more enriching experience. I've met some of the most incredible people over the years, and some of the stories you've already heard, I think, are reminders of how people dedicate their lives and how they use their opportunities to make good choices. And I've discovered 2 or 3 things that I'd like to pass along to you this morning. One is that there are no insignificant decisions or choices in your life. Sometimes the smallest little right or wrong decision you make can have a great impact on the rest of your life. Sometimes the things you decide to do almost on the spur of the moment can end up being one of the most important things you've ever done. So don't ever look at opportunities to make a decision or make a choice as being unnecessary or unimportant. You'll find that as you grow older, your life becomes made up of the small choices and decisions that you've made all along the way. And you become the person that you choose to be, and your life becomes the life that you have selected by the choices and decisions you make. So it's very important that you take it all seriously. It's all important and it all matters. A good friend of mine told me some time ago that a successful life is all about you, and a significant life is all about how you impact others. And when I really sat down and thought about that, I thought to myself, yeah, you know, that is what is critical about a successful life being making a lot of money, developing a lot of celebrity, all of things that I accomplished when I was with Z100 for almost 30 years. But significant moments in my life are the things that now turned out to be most important because they were about other people. And what I'd like to do to tell you about a choice, probably the most difficult choice I've ever made in my life, happened on September 12th, 2001. Because on September 11th, 2001, our country was attacked by Al-Qaeda terrorists who flew airplanes into the World Trade Center, killing over 3,000 people and injuring another 25,000. The entire nation was in shock. People didn't know what to do, how to react, how to handle a situation like this. And here I am, a part of a morning show where we come on every morning and we laugh and joke and kid around and do a lot of silly and stupid talk, it seemed to me sometimes. And on September 11th, we sat in that studio and watched the planes crash into the World Trade Center. Our studios at that time were directly across from the World Trade Center. We watched the planes crash in and we stayed on the air broadcasting the news of the crash until the second building came tumbling it down. And then the police and fire department forced us to leave our building. But after that terrible, terrible morning, a group of us from the morning show sat around and we had to make a decision. We had to make a choice. Should we go on the air tomorrow morning on September 12th? After all, we were a kind of a comedy show, a foolish little silly program that tried to entertain people with jokes and stories and all of the rest, and some music we played in between the jokes and stories. And we kind of were all at a loss. We thought, well, this is not our thing. This is not what we do. Should we just cancel the show for a couple of days? And as the conversation went on, we discovered that no, we shouldn't cancel the show at all. That we should come back on the morning of September 12th and that we would sit down and talk to the people who were our friends, who were our listeners, the people who depended on us in the mornings to get them going, to get them on the way to work, to get them on the way to school. We had become important in their lives. And it was important for us then not to think so much about how we felt about the situation, but how all of those people who had listened to us and supported us and made us the #1 radio station in America, really, that we ought to go on and talk with them. We had no idea what we would talk about. We had no idea how we would handle all of the trauma that people were experiencing. So we decided we would listen and we would share, that we would let people tell us how much shock they were experiencing, and that we would try to talk them down from the worst situations. And for 4 or 5 hours, we sat in that studio and we were just human beings interacting with friends, trying to help them understand that terrible things like what had happened the day before will happen occasionally in life. And that the most important thing that we can do is to stand up and get back up and recover from the situation as quickly as we could. And we found on that morning how important we were to people in a real sense. In all these years since September 11th, I think whenever I talk to people who were fans of our show, the one thing that comes back most often is the show that we did on September 12th. People saying to me, John, it was the best radio I ever experienced. It was an opportunity to see you guys as human beings, and you were so much help to all of us who were casting about trying to decide what to do now. That day was a very important lesson to me. It taught me several important things that I'd like to pass along to you. All of us will experience terrible experiences in our lifetimes. We all face tragedies, we face loss, we face difficulties. But the thing that I remember most about September 12th was that there's a way to come back from all of that. And that is to focus not on the negative aspects of what's just happened, but to remember all of the good things, the friends you have, the family that supports you, the people at your workplace who have become part of your life, the opportunities you have to help somebody else who is going through a difficult time to experience it with less trauma. There was a place for all of us, even from that silly, crazy morning radio show. There was a place for us to be part of our community, be a part of our neighborhood, be a part of the people who listen to us and were part of our show. And that's really what this program at Copeland is all about. It's all about helping young people understand how important the decisions they make when they're young will be when they are much older. The decisions that they make now at 12, 13, 14 years of age will be decisions that they will find impact their lives 20, 30 years from now. And so this special program and this presentation of people who come once a year to talk to the young people at Copeland and really talk to young people everywhere is the fact that our lives can be examples of how important it is to be of value, not only to yourself, but to other people. The time we shared with each other on September 12th was the most important time in my life. And I think that you will find that mornings like this one, when we sit down and talk about making positive choices with our lives, is an important moment in our lives. One of the things I've also discovered is this, is that most of the time, the worst things that we experience in our lives, the worst decisions we've ever made, were not made without knowledge of their impact. We almost always know that when we're about to make a decision, what the right thing to do is and what the wrong thing to do is. The danger is that sometimes we convince ourselves against our better judgment to make the wrong choice, to go in the wrong direction. And of course, when I talk about things like substance abuse, about using drugs, over abusing or abusing alcohol, that's one of those wrong choices that we really know better. And we know that it's not something we should be doing. So what I'm saying to you today, folks, is when you have a decision to make, realize that it's going to be an important point in your life for perhaps the rest of your life. And the decision you make will impact your life for a long, long time. So be careful. Don't let the negative aspects of any decision overwhelm your common sense, overwhelm your sense of knowing what is right and what is wrong. Always make the choice that in your heart you know is the right one. In your heart you know is the one that is best, not only for you, but for all of the other people in your life. So this morning, I'm so happy to be part of this lineup of people who have great stories to tell about how they manage difficult moments in their lives and difficult occurrences in their lives, because it enables all of us to say to each other, life is not always easy. There will be times when we are stressed, when we are traumatized, when we are worried, when we seem at a loss for what to do. But if we look to our friends, if we look to our family, if we look to the advice and counsel that comes from those people who have traveled the road before we did, we can overcome all of this and we can become the successful adult human beings that we all hope to be. So this morning is important to me. I do this every year that I can because I realize that the messages that people gave to me when I was a young boy were so important in helping me to become a success in my life that I owe it to the generations that come behind me. I owe it to all of you who are listening this morning to help to encourage you to make good choices and good decisions because they will guide the rest of your life. There will be difficult times. There will be times when it seems that nothing good can possibly arise out of what you're experiencing. But I'm here to tell you that it can. The next morning, the sun will come up. The next morning, you can begin to rebuild whatever destruction took place in your life. The next morning, you can begin to start out on a new path. So never give up and never give in. Realize that a significant life is one where you dedicate as much of your energy as you possibly can to helping other people and overcoming your own individual problems and difficulties. So Copeland has been a marvelous experience for me. It's allowed me to do something all these years that I rarely got to do on the radio, where I was mainly involved in making people laugh and having a good time. Copeland is serious. It's about something that helps generation after generation benefit from the experiences of those who have gone before. If you listened carefully to some of the people who preceded me here this morning, you heard stories of great trauma, great difficulty, experiences that led them to having to make important decisions in their lives. And they did. They realized that they could overcome if they simply gave it the energy and the time and the commitment that was necessary. And so this morning, I want to remind you that there will be more mornings like this. And one day, I hope that some of you will be sitting here or sitting at Copeland itself, telling younger people, the ones who come after you, your younger brothers and sisters, your friends, how they can deal with the problems of today to make for a better tomorrow. God bless you all, and thank you for listening this morning. It's been such a pleasure to be a part of this again. Les, I thank you for inviting me once again. And anytime that I can be a part of this, you got my number.
John, before you leave, you've been very, very special to us over the years. And like you said, when you first came on board, didn't know if you were going to have a conflict, but, the bosses at Z100 said, they felt that what we were doing was important. And that's all it took. And we got you, and we never let you go after that. And what's great about John is whenever we needed him for anything over the years, he was always there for us. And even about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a documentary made about the program here at Copeland Middle School, which is actually on our website. And of course, we had to have a narrator, and there was only one person that really fit the bill for that, and that was John. And not only did he do a great job, but it was perfect for what we were trying to do and all the people that we wanted to portray, so they knew what this program was all about. So John, again, was there for us. And John, again, thank you for your friendship, for everything you've done for us, and just being there for me and our family and everybody as a whole over these last 20 plus years. So I will be in touch with you soon, as I always do, and we'll make some more good things happen. And you just have a great day, and keep safe, my friend.
Well, thank you, Les. Thanks very much for letting me be a part of all of this. And thanks to all the kids up at Copeland. I love all of those kids. They're in my memory book for the rest of my life. It's a great place, some great students, some great teachers, and great people like Les Wexler. So thanks a lot for letting me be part of it.
Thank you again, John. Appreciate it. Okay, and our last celebrity is known to the students and staff here at Copeland Middle School. He spoke to the 6th graders last March, a week before COVID closed the schools. He became an instant star, not only because of his personality, but because of his remarkable story and his path to success. He played in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles, and most recently, the New York Giants. He's become a good friend to our family, and he always loved sharing his story with Rockaway Township, and especially Copeland Middle School. Would you please welcome, again, a good friend, Mr. Kevin Wilkins.
What's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
How are you?
Good. How are you? How are you?
Good.
I'm happy to be back.
At home, my friend.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I thought it was because my last name was with a W.
There you go.
What's going on, guys? I'm happy to be back. I got to hear pretty much everyone talk, and it's kind of always the same thing. Everyone kind of goes through trials and tribulations, and to how they've gone through life, and they're succeeding now. And I know you guys. I talked to you guys last time about my story, and I'll kind of give like a brief update and transition into what I kind of want to tie it into. Born in Hackensack, New Jersey. I'll jump right into it. At the age of 6, was taken from my biological mother with my siblings, Jonathan and Jasmine. We're split up in foster care. In a 3-year span, I went through 14 foster homes before finally getting adopted in Sparta, New Jersey, by my mother, Kathleen Wilkins and John Wilkins at the time. At that point in life, everything was kind of already hard for me. I already had went through some tragedies and stuff like that. Going into my sophomore year of high school, my adoptive parents actually ended up getting divorced. And I kind of thought like all the bad things were left behind me. Ended up living out of my mom's Tahoe for a while, in and out of hotel rooms my sophomore year of high school before I ended up transferring to St. Joe's. The biggest thing I'll say, like when I talked to you guys last time about this, is like, you know, I always say I'm not supposed to be where I'm at, but actually I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be at the end of the day, because this kind of ties into what I want to talk about. Throughout all the bad things in my life, you know, I've always said, like, every bad thing that's happened to me, something good has come from it. I remember we did an article in high school when I was at St. Joe's, and they were talking about my adoption. Like, a lot of people didn't know about my story. They're like, oh my God, 14 foster homes. Like, how did you get over that? I'm like, well, to be honest with you, I got 14 scholarships to play Division I football. So I tried to take the bad and see the good in things. You know, I went through 14 foster homes. I ended up getting 14 plus scholarships to go play at a Division I level, which I didn't think would ever be possible. Like, you know, people like, oh, you're a big guy, you know, you're going to play football. I didn't think I was going to have that many scholarships. So it kind of just worked out for me. You know, living in my mom's car, going hotel to hotel, not, you know, having places to stay all the time, living with one of my good friends, the Yankovic family. They took us in. Something good came from that. I was able to transfer to a new high school, have a new beginning where no one really knew anything about me. It was just a fresh start. So that's another positive. Ended up going to Rutgers, playing there for 5 years. Was a 3-year starter for them. Got a chance to play in the league, still currently trying to get back in as a free agent. This is what I want to tie it into. I already told you guys so much about my story and how I've persevered and come to be where I'm at today. I'm in another spot where I've talked to Les about, we just talked about this on the phone the other day, and I kind of told him, like, hey, like, I'm so happy at the point where I'm at in life that, like, it's not even about football anymore for me. It's about giving back, doing stuff like this. So now I'm going to tie it into that. All the things that I faced in life, I think, have prepared me and molded my mind to think this way at this exact point right now. You know, get picked up by the Philadelphia Eagles as an undrafted free agent in 2019, spent the summer camp and everything with them, had a really good preseason. I ended up getting released. They bring me back, went to the Giants, were with them. COVID struck. It struck for everyone. I felt bad for a little bit, but everyone got hit with that. So I was like, you know what? It is what it is. And I sat there and, you know, I felt bad for myself. I felt sorry for myself. But once again, I've been through so much that I was able to kind of get myself out of that, of like feeling sorry for myself, and was able to say, you know what? Let me turn this into something good. I actually started personal training in my own defensive line academy in Fairfield, New Jersey, as I'm still pursuing my football career. The reason why I want to talk about this is because my whole life I kept saying, or once I got to college, I kept saying, I just want to play in the league. As long as I can play football, I'll be happy. As long as I can play football, I'll be happy. As long as I can play football, I'll be happy. After this whole year of COVID, I really got to see what actually made Kevin Wilkins happy. And I didn't have football in my life. Like me personally playing, I didn't have it in my life. And that was something new for me. From the age of 9 years old to 25, I've done nothing but sports, whether it was football, wrestling, lacrosse, baseball, soccer. My family is big into sports. So my mind was moved, like, if I don't make it in football, I'm not going to make it in life. If I don't make it in this, I'm not going to make it in life. Meanwhile, I already came out on top of every bad situation that has ever happened to me. Went through 14 foster homes. I finally got adopted. Lived in my mom's car. Ended up transferring schools, getting Division I scholarship to play football at Rutgers for 5 years. A lot of things went on in my family. I got the opportunity to be a part of the 1% that gets to make it to the NFL. A lot of people don't get to do that. That is a great victory. That is something that a lot of people can't say they did. I got to do that. I'm still pursuing my dreams to do that, but there's other ways to still go for what my dreams are, but still move forward in life and be happy. And that's why I decided to open up my own D-line academy and start personal training, because now I'm able to see guys who were in the situation like me that I can give back to. Because back then, I didn't have NFL players that were willing to give, not that they weren't willing to give back, but they weren't really around that much when I lived in Sparta, if you guys know about Sparta. I'm able to do what I wish someone could do for me, and that's give back, whether that's teaching, whether that's technique, or whether that's just being an ear to listen to, or a mouth for someone to kind of rub ideas off of. And I love that. Ooh, I'm sorry. And I love that because I'm able to still be around football and I'm not even playing it. And it's making me that much happier that I have young guys who I get to see succeed with the things that I'm giving them. And it's not even about me training them. It's like I get to see people grow. I get to build relationships with people. I get to do stuff like this where I'm able to constantly give back. And even if it's not even just training or anything like that, it's more of the fact that, like, no matter what you're going through in life, you can always make a bad situation turn into a good situation. And I'm a big believer in that. You know, I say, like, I've been through a lot. All the speakers here have been through the trials and tribulations, and they've come out on top. The thing with that and being consistent with that is never, I say feeling sorry for yourself. I don't think it's really necessary feeling sorry for yourself. It's more of like, just keep going. When something bad happens, you know, it's going to hurt for a little bit, but guess what? You got another day. It's going to suck for that day, but guess what? I say you always just keep stacking days. You're going to have a bad day. You're going to have, listen, Mondays are always my worst day, but I make it an emphasis that when I go into the gym on a Monday that, hey, I'm going to try to make this the best Monday I can. I'll make it better than the last Monday. Wake up Tuesday morning, hey, I'm going to be better than yesterday. Wake up Wednesday, I'm going to be better than Tuesday. If you do things like that, it allows you to move forward in life. It allows you to keep having that positive energy and also being able to surround yourself with people who are like that. Like my team at JD Core in Fairfield, New Jersey. It's a lot of positive people, a lot of young people, 30, 35, very, very young group of people. I'm the youngest. Me and Kate and I are the youngest people, 25 to 26. I work in a gym where there's people in there that barely know me, but want my success just as bad as me. So they're able to push me. And that's what I think life is all about. Getting around people who have your best interests, getting around people like Les, so we can do stuff like this. All the guest speakers that are here today. I'm hoping that this is going to be, you know, a family for a lifetime. I love, like I said, when I came there last time and spoke to you guys, I told you guys my entire story. It was a little emotional for me because I really don't talk about it that much, and a lot of people really don't know about it. But I'm starting to realize that there's a lot more people that have been in my situation, that are in my situation right now, that I can potentially help. And that's what's motivating me now. Yes, my dream and passion is football, but I love being able to help. I love being able to give back. I love seeing the smiling faces on all the middle school kids. When I went there the first time to talk to you guys, I love seeing the smile and the energy that you guys bring. Like, that's when I realized, I'm like, wow, I can be happy without football. You know, this has nothing to do with football. You know, we're telling you guys our experiences, our life. Sorry, my dog is bugging out right now. We're telling you guys about our life experiences, how we've done, how bad things have happened, and how it's affected us, and how we've had to kind of dig ourselves out of a hole. And I honestly think that that's what life is about. That is the hard things that I don't think people are going to want to talk about. But when you have things like this virtual meeting and these conversations and celebrity days, this is the time, I think, where kids this age can soak stuff like this in, because there's going to come a point in time in life where you guys are going to be able to go back and relate to each and one of our stories, and it might help you persevere or come out on top of a bad situation. So I think I'm the last one, but out of all the speakers, I think if you can take at least one thing from all the speakers, you know, maybe write it down in a book or something that may have caught your eye or your attention, or that sparked you a little bit, to write it down, because you never know when you're going to need it again. There's a lot of times where I've had people talk to me, you know, I hear them, and then all of a sudden, like, something happened to me, and I'm like, yo, that person told me that, you know? So make sure, like, you guys, your ears are open, and you've heard everyone talk already, and I'm the last one. But like I said, I just wanted to really touch on that and reiterate the fact that, like, you know, my dream and everything is football, but at the end of the day, I'm doing something that I never thought I would do, and I'm loving it, giving back, talking to you guys, And this is, I think, what life is all about at the end of the day. You know, having those hard conversations, hearing people's stories, because everyone thinks that, and this is the misconception that people have. They think that like every successful person was just born successful. It's a lot deeper than that. It's just what you see on the surface. Not a lot of people like to dig deep into the roots and really say like what has happened to get them to this point. Because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of successful people out there that have dark pasts and dark histories, and they've had things happen to them throughout their entire lives. But guess what? They've always stayed consistent in who they are, true to themselves, and just generally just really, really good people. And that's what I think we had today. We have a group of speakers who are just genuinely great people. I know I met some last time we spoke, just being in the green room, kind of talking to them. It kind of felt like I knew everybody in the green room, which was really cool to kind of see, because we've all never really met in person before, but we were kind of all just connected in the green room, just talking, having conversations, showing dogs and stuff like that. And that's why I value a lot of things like this. And I'm starting to realize that even though my dreams of football could possibly come to an end at 26 years old, I'm perfectly happy and content with where I'm at in life, because I'm able to see I'm able to teach and be with the younger generation of kids that don't necessarily have, you know, every single role model, but Les, Copeland Middle School, they're able to do stuff like this so you guys can have this experience. I know I said last time that I was going to keep fighting and seeing kind of what happens. And my kind of goal, my plan right now is to keep moving forward with what I'm doing as I'm still pursuing my career. But ultimately, I want to become a firefighter and run my D-line business on the side. And that's what ultimately is going to make me happy. Like I said, I'm still fighting. There's still things I'm going through in life, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be consistent in who I am. I'm always going to constantly give back. I'm always going to be myself and the person that I am, and kind of just go forward with life, because life's never going to stop. You got to keep moving forward. You got to find ways to better yourself, even when you don't want to. And like I said, that's the biggest thing for me. It's just being consistent in who you are every single day. You're going to have bad days, but you got to have more good days than you have bad. And I think that's just the biggest thing for me that's helping me get through. This is not necessarily a rough patch for me. It's more of a, like, you've ever had a dream of just playing football, and I wanted that to be my dream, but I'm starting to realize that I might have a different calling. And I know a lot of people want me to still pursue my football career, but I'm really starting to fall in love with the personal training side. This type of stuff like this, I'm really starting to fall in love with that. And I've always said I want to get involved in, like, you know, the boys and girls clubs, because I've been in those situations before. And me, I want to be able to be the person that is like, hey, listen, you see me, you may see that I might be kind of successful, but at the end of the day, it's much deeper than what you see in front of you. Whether it's my Chelsea boots, the nice jeans, a nice button down, it's much deeper than that, you know? And I think I explained that last time we talked, or the last two times that we talked. Just be consistent in who you are. Try to wake up every day. Like me, I say prayers every morning. I say prayers every night. I thank God. Every day I wake up, I open my eyes. I thank God for letting me open my eyes every single morning. Every single day you wake up, be thankful that you get to live another day. And that's why I'm able to kind of continue. That's why I'm able to continue pursuing my football career, on top of giving back, on top of personal training, my D-line academy, and obviously Celebrity Day. These are all the things that make a great place. And Copeland Middle School, I tell you guys, I love it there. I can't wait till we can come back in person. I know last time we talked, I gave my name or tag out to some guys. I've still been in contact with some of the kids at the school playing Fortnite, whether it's Madden. They get on there all the time and shoot me a message. I'll play with them. Listen, I'm a competitive guy in the video game, so if you ever want to play, all you gotta do is sign on and message me on my PS4 or PS5, and I'll get going on there. But once again, I want to say, you know, thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to Copeland Middle School. Thank you to Les, everybody. Thank you guys so much. You know, like I said, I can't wait to get in person and talk to you guys again, maybe get some one-on-one basketball once everything gets cleared up. But I just want to say thank you again for having all the speakers, and thank you for all the speakers for sharing your stories. It was awesome to hear, and I'm happy that I got to share mine. I just want to say thank you very much.
Okay. Kevin, thank you, buddy, for everything you've done, for being a rock star here at Copeland, which you know you are. And we're going to, believe me, we'll do this many, many more times. And
oh yeah, I can't wait. I need that one-on-one basketball game. I forgot who it was last time that I wanted a one-on-one basketball game with me.
Well, next year, you know, instead
Absolutely.
of having the 6 speakers that we're doing virtually, we should have 4 7th graders coming in. That'll be 8th graders next year. Hopefully, we'll be back to the 17 or 18 celebrities that we
Awesome.
here with the celebrity basketball game, and we'll make sure you're playing. No tuition.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, Kevin, thank you again, buddy. I'll be in touch with you soon.
Right, awesome.
Going on during the summer. So thank you again.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Done. And we'll certainly be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Okay. So we're just going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Looks like we have some good numbers, which means people were interested in what our message is. And, you know, that's what we've been trying to do for 23 years. And you heard just from a handful of our speakers and our guests who, you know what, they don't do this because they have to. They do it because they love coming here. And, you know, teachers and administration that have been here for many, many years know what this has been all about. And we can't thank them enough for their support and everything they've done for us. And it's very important to us. But the important thing, like even John was saying, John Bell was saying, you know, tomorrow's a new day. You know, whatever might have been in the past, now we have to move forward, but it's all about making good decisions. And that's what we'll continue to try and get across to you as long as we're doing this program. And we thank you again for tuning in, listening, and we hope you have a great summer. And now I'm going to turn it over to Principal Ganell.
Just want to thank Les and the Substance Abuse Alliance, all of our speakers. We've had really nice to have a live audience here. Our kids, as usual, our teachers always rise to the occasion. I just want to give a big shout out to the teachers and the students. Copeland Middle School in Rockaway Township has been rocking and rolling with virtual learning the past year and a half, or hybrid learning. How our kids were today, just awesome. Really proud of you. And really proud to be part of this community. And Les and Todd, thank you for bringing this to us. And kids, I hope you got a positive message out of it. Enjoy your day. I do want to add that to Marcello Flamia and Terrell Wilfong. Kevin Wilkinson's playing on my team for the 3-on-3 challenge. So Terrell will be me, you, and Kevin versus whoever Marcello has to go against us. Everybody have a great day. Make positive choices. Thank you again to everyone.